Hey there everybody, it's me nirex, and welcome back to Beginner C++ Programming. So in the last video, which was the introduction, we talked about why we should use C++ and what you need to get started with this language. Why did I write 2017 twice? Okay, so as I saw, you don't really need any knowledge requirements. The only thing that you need is to have Visual Studio, okay, any version, 2017, 2000, oh yeah, this was supposed to be 19. 2019 or whatever version you prefer. Just don't install anything, below 2015. Don't go for 2013 or anything. So I assume you already have that installed. So let's go ahead and open Visual Studio and create our first project. Now when you first open Visual Studio, it may not look exactly the way mine does. And maybe the colors are different because I used a custom theme. Maybe the projects are empty because you haven't actually created anything. So if this is your first time running Visual Studio, you should only see an empty page. You should see nothing in the recent, nothing in the new projects. You should absolutely see nothing here. It all should be empty. But let's change that. So let's go ahead and create our new project. There are a couple of ways you can do it in Visual Studio. First way, which I always use, is to click this button here. Now a lot of people tell me to use keyboard, but sometimes I use keyboard, sometimes the mouse. I prefer to do it here this way. So you can easily click this button right here, create new project. This window opens. Another way is to press Control Shift and N simultaneously. Control Shift N, and there you have it. And the last way, but not the least, is to go to File, New, and Project, which is the same thing as Control Shift and N. So once you do that, once you click this button here or any of the other ways to create a new project, a window will open for you, the new project window. In this window, you will have a couple of things you can open here. Now these things are called templates. Okay, these are here based on the settings you chose while installing Visual Studio. You may not see Python or TypeScript here, but I do because I installed them while installing Visual Studio. So these are all the languages and technologies you see and have installed on while installing Visual Studio. So that's it. But we don't really care about all of these guys. I mean, they're good, they're useful. A lot of them are not bad, except Visual Basic. This is just it's a meh. So don't really go for this. But what we're actually interested in is the Visual C++ template, because after all, this is a C++ course. So let me just double check something. Yeah, all good. Now, here you can actually open all of these templates and see, what's in them. So you can open Visual C++, go explore all the things you want for yourself, but we don't really care about any of them. What we care about is the empty project right here. We don't even want a console or a Windows application. We just want a bare bone empty project with absolutely nothing in it. So what you can do is click once on one of these template types, and just click them there, and then name it and give it a path. So naming a project is just as simple as naming a folder. So everything should have a name in a computer. Project is no exception. So just simply give your project a name. Let's do session 2, projects and solutions. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, projects and solutions. So this is how you name your project. You name it with this box here, session 2, projects and solutions. There's also another name down here that is called the solution name. We'll talk about that when we get to it. I will tell you what it is. And then there's a path. I always keep it here if it's a project that doesn't really matter. If it matters, I just put it in another folder where it matters, And then that's as basic as it gets. I'm not really a folder guy person. So if you're a folder guy, then just, make a hierarchy of folders for yourself. I'm not going to do it. It's all simple. Just give it a location and be done with it. And if you don't want to type your location, you can just hit browse here and be done with it even easier. So we name a project, we give it a path, and we name the solution. I will tell you what the solution is. Now there are two checkboxes here. Create directory for solution, which I always recommend it to be checked, and create new Git repository. Now, we will talk about Git in a later course. It's not a video in this course. It has its own set of videos because it's a relatively good subject to have a course instead of a single video. It's a little bigger than a video. So we'll talk about Git later on, not just yet. Create directory for solution. Always check that. We don't currently need Git to be checked. And when you're all done, just go ahead and click OK and give Visual Studio some time, and there you have it. Your project is already open. Now, if you've already done this and messed up somewhere in this layout, what you can do, for instance, maybe you closed some of these windows off, okay? Maybe you closed them down. You don't even have them anymore. It's all messed up. So what you can do is go to Windows and reset window layout, yes, and there you have all of those good things back. Now I created my own layout because it's a little bit, this is a little bothering, so yeah. Anyhow, what I want you to do now is go ahead and open Solution Explorer, pin it down, and there you have your hierarchy of project and solution. So this guy on the top right here is called our solution. This is our solution file, and this is our project file. Now, what's the difference between a solution and a project? A lot of people may wonder when they're first beginning to work with Visual Studio, because solution file is something that is specific to Visual Studio, but other IDEs have some sort of the same thing. So we write our code in a single project, and all of these files that you see down here is the result of a single project. It will give you a .exe or a .dll or a .lib file. So .exe, .dll, .lib, or whatever else, okay? So they will generate a single file, or better yet, a single assembly file for you to use. So one project, one file. Maybe it's an assembly of the executable type or a dynamic link library type. We will talk about both of them soon. So this is basically what a project is. You put all your code under project, okay? Now, maybe you are facing a problem and you should or you want to write a piece of code or a piece of software for it to fix that problem for you in an easier way instead of doing it yourself. You want to make an application that does it for you. An application may not be made with just one project, okay? It may use a couple of different projects. I can actually give you examples, such as League of Legends, this amazing game with an amazing community. Yeah, this amazing game actually has a couple of projects within itself. It's not made with a single project. There are a couple of exe files, a couple of DLL files, a couple of things come together to make this application possible. Same thing with Unreal Engine. If you go and look at the source of Unreal Engine, you can see that it's made up of a couple of projects, maybe 2 dozen, a dozen and a half. I'm not quite sure, but it's made up of more than one project. So just as a project can hold code values in itself, code files and source files, a solution file can hold multiple projects under itself. Okay, so I can create 10 projects under a single solution that can be used later on. And it's actually a good naming convention. Naming it solution, it's a solution to our problems or a single problem, and it can have different projects to solve that solution. And so that's basically what it is. It's a project, the other one is a solution. Now let's talk a little bit about source files and header files, just to get started. Not really the header files, but the source files, where to write our code. So when you want to create a new item, you select one of these with normal mouse click, the left click, and based on what you have selected, if you right click down here, you will see a different menu. So if I click solution and right click down here, I will see this menu. If I click my project and right click, I will see another menu. If I click one of these filters here and click, I will see a different menu. You can just tell by the size. Easier way to do that is just right click on any of these that you want. It'll automatically select and right click on it, give you this menu. So what I want you to do is go ahead and create a single new source file. So what you do, that may have been a little fast, so you go here, right click, add new item, and there you have it. This is another window that opens. There are, again, a lot of things that we really don't care about just yet. We only care about these two guys, the CPP and the .h, and we still don't care about the .h. The only thing that we want is this one. So once you click that, you can give it a name and a path, or you can browse the path as usual, but we don't really care about them. I mean, I personally just put all the files, all the source files and header files in a single folder, same folder as my project. You can change it if you want. It's a good practice to change it or not, just your choice. So what I usually do is just leave it at that. I don't really touch this part at all. But it's essential for you to name your files. If you don't that and you have a lot of files, then you're definitely gonna get confused. So what we do is just go ahead and what I want you to do is go ahead and click on this, give it a simple name like entry.cpp. You can also not type the .cpp, but because you're selecting this one, when you click add down here, the CPP will automatically be added at the end of that. And there you have it, guys. You made your first project, your first solution, and your first C++ source file. So that's basically as hard as it gets to create any type of project in Visual Studio. There are also a couple of more things that we will talk about later. I will tell you exactly what these are, how we can use it. It's project properties, solution properties, and how you can configure them in a way so that they can work with each other and make life easier for you. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, maybe leave a comment if you really enjoyed it. Please do subscribe. That will help a lot. And see you in the next one.